Let's talk about packing all of our wires in our device into this junction box. The reason we have extra wire is to make it easier to pack this box. Short wires become very difficult to get put into the junction box. It also makes it harder to work on the device while we're attaching the wires. So we're going to start to fold or accordion these wires into the box slowly. You want to do this making sure that you're not stressing out your wire ends on the terminals, because if you do this too violently or aggressively, you're going to loosen those connections, or you could even break a wire. So as we're packing them in, we're pushing this outlet closer to the junction box, and we're going to line it up to where we finally are going to use the screws on the device to screw it tightly to the box. This is the point where you want to make sure that you've aligned the device straight, so when you finish this out later, you're going to have an outlet that's not crooked or skewed. So here I have my extra wires. I'm going to start bending and folding these wires in. And I want to make sure, one thing to think about is you've got a bare ground wire here. You don't want that anywhere near your hot leads or your black wire connections. So make sure that your ground wire, if you're paying attention to it, it stays away from any of these other terminals. So as I'm folding this in, I'm kind of starting to get this outlet lined up and straight to where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and start lining up these screws. I have 2 screws that should be already attached to this outlet. I'll go ahead and get one set, and then I'm going to line up this bottom one. So I've got 2 holes in this junction box. I've got them lined up, and I'll get these screws started. There we go. And I'm going to tighten them up. And as I'm tightening them up, I'm going to go ahead and push this outlet in and kind of hold it where I want it to be. Take some of the tension off these screws, and now I can go ahead and tighten these up. These are what are going to hold this device to this box. Keep in mind, there's something missing on my mock-up here. We would not be putting these outlets in before we put drywall in. So we'd have a finished surface here, and the ears of this device would be catching on our drywall. I'm going ahead and installing this so we can get the idea of how this would go. But this phase of the electrical process would only happen after all of that finish work was done, and then we would come in and put all of these devices in. So I have one more screw here to finish out, and we're going to go ahead and tighten that one up. We want this box to be, we want this device to be straight. I'm going to start ignoring the box and start looking at the wall and things around it. I have a little bit of adjustment in this outlet. I can move it around. I don't want it too close to any one side, but I want to make sure that it's straight. So as far as plumb, let's say, and that's going to be a good installation. Finished, it's nice and tight, it's not moving around, and we are done with our outlet installation.